Okay, good morning. This is Dr. Maria Luth, and well, Mia. When I have to do legal paperwork, uh, it's actually my second name. My first name was Maria. I mean Jennifer. Sorry. Anybody out there ever do any kind of fostering? If you remember Jenny with the sticky up hair, it's me, and I'm pretty sure that's why I got into hockey. Be my foster parents. Um, but I got adopted, and so my legal name is Maria, and two people, you know, so there's not a confusion about certain things. However, there are some people who may not understand that when you are texting and typing and putting things, okay, like accusing someone of something they're not doing could actually get to a point where law enforcement can intercede in the United States of America. Okay. So just be aware of what you're doing online, everybody. All right. And so for foodies, I'm a foodie, but I can't because I have to have a very particular food situation to try not to gain weight anyway. Because I don't have a pool or one of those swim spa things. And so that's really the only cardio that I can do that's, I can still do and, burn heat and fat and all that kind of thing. So it was on my wish list. Somehow there is a um, Y that's close by. I wouldn't be able to walk there, but um, it's still almost $100 a month, and they were kind enough to get me a really good break, which I really appreciated. And I did go, and it was so awesome. I know. I tested out all my strokes, and yeah, I can't even do the breaststroke. My legs just don't even work. So I'm basically just front arming it, and my legs are dragging. But I backstroke and other things, right? So I still have a way to exercise. It also helps me if I get too hot. Urine water helps you dissipate heat. So I can't do flip turns because like right. Well, my backstroke flip turn was better than my front stroke. I'm all in the other lane. Like, all right, this needs work. Yeah. Like, I have trouble with some balance stuff, and so if I turn my head too fast, it's very disorienting. So I only do flip turns because I'm not trying to. But unfortunately, trying to get like a consistent ride at a consistent time where I could, do a couple miles twice a week. That would be really helpful. Plus breath work for singing and other things too. But that's kind of the goal. But I had to kind of like, I didn't want to be, you know, I couldn't really afford even the cheaper because I just didn't have consistent rides. So, um, and that's why I was trying to see if I could ride a bike to get there, but not without breaking into something or busting my balls. So, or my boobs or my face. Not my face. Um, I've already done that once. Yeah, once you do that, you don't want to be doing it again. So there are kind of other ways. If I could, a swim spa would work too. But I like lap pools because it's just like it doesn't seem as confined. Anyway, that's the only way I can really get good exercise. So I was a little like whopping 236 there for a little while. And it's like, okay, I can't. This is not, yeah, all right. I'm not doing well at all. I'm so out of shape. It's kooky. But I also have breathing issues and swallowing issues that could be from a couple of things. And so my face will do weird stuff, but I know it's not any palsy or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, but those of us who have anything like that, I do come right. Like I definitely need an adult bib when eating any kind of food. You would think that like a baked lace would not be an issue yet. One baked lace. And yes, like take a bite out of it, but my mouth didn't want you right there. And down into the bra and some no, don't dress me up. Don't take me out anywhere. Right. I mean, it's better if I just stay at home. Yeah, like five pairs of jeans or shirts. Yeah, but I'm a bit of a messy cook too. But I clean up after myself. So it's not. I don't have success no matter what kind of coffee cup. Like the sippy things, but great. I usually need ones with lids. It doesn't make you feel like the little kid sometimes, but it does bring this up. So, senior psychology, everybody. There's a lot of baby boomers, and some of you might be, staring at helping your parents out for one reason or another. Okay, never treat them like children. If you do that, that can be seen by some as a form of abuse. All right, these things are not trained that way. Not, and if they are being trained that way, well, then they need to be untrained, and people need to really hope that somebody doesn't check. Okay, it does concern me how senior citizens are being taken care of in this country, and with baby boomers, right? But I can just say maybe family up with your elders and see if you can get a nurse from some. If you can't afford one, yeah, or you some might be able to afford a private one. I don't know, but right. I mean, because nursing homes probably, yeah. I mean, all through COVID, and they have to have daily contact with, and so volunteers in that realm maybe helping to take people to doctor's appointments. Yeah, who knows? A lot of places like that will have volunteer coordinators, and so you can usually look that up online. And sometimes extra not just material goods, but musicians listen to me carefully. If you get band or solo, or you just like playing, or you do travel around, okay, I'm find senior centers, okay, especially if you're like a younger and you're trying to like get like gig practice, or you're singers, you want to get the gig practice, see, with an audience, right? Try and find senior centers, the nursing homes, yes, okay, and like quite literally, you'll get gigs. You will. It doesn't even matter what kind it is. Like, yes, I mean, yeah, really, they would probably even use some, punk rappers come rolling in. Right? But if one of them gets up and smashes you in the face because you're dropping F bombs, then you got what you deserve. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Right. Everybody. Like people who need gig practice, people who just love to sing. Okay, some places aren't going to be able to pay. Okay, but sometimes that's cool if you're just trying to get some practice. Um, yeah, in little choral groups, if you want to get out and about and just must sing, that's a way to help out because you know that like some of them like the names. Trust me, they might get kooky. It might be kooky time for you, but they have people who, who yeah, they sure this isn't like get out of hand. But musical people, like yeah, you got like some kind of pan flute, mojo, and your best friend is like got the didgeridoo. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's like they're just happy. If you know how to play piano, a lot of them somewhere might have a piano, right? Just stroll on it, sit down. I can't. It's very bad. Yeah, it's like I mean, I can hit like so I can, but I can one finger play nobody's business. Oh, which sucks too, but I've gotten used to that part because that one I kind of losing before. But people who do have like neurological disorders that haven't been diagnosed. I guess I've known a few people like that. They go places and they're not sure, and I hear other places. And it can be tough travel and yeah, and trying to figure out where specialists are. And for me, the movement disorder specialists are in Baltimore, and I don't live in Baltimore near it really anymore. Um, but it's also I really shouldn't be taking like trips on buses that last a certain amount of time because, right, like I have to stop and rest a lot to rehydrate, bathroom, and like somebody's grandma on this show. But the sun is a huge issue for me. And my skin these days, so I have to take extra vitamin D, which is what I'm going to tell some of you basement dwellers and vampires and whatever else you got going on in your basements. There's not a lot of light. If you are dealing in a situation where you don't have a lot of natural light, okay, you're probably going to need to supplement vitamin D. And it's why I say the happy light. There's lots of research from a lot of different reliable academic, places. Uh, it's some were calling it heliotherapy, but it's not heliotherapy if you're not using the sun. You can yes, there's more harmful stuff in that, and so um, the a light like a happy light can help you also just naturally start producing vitamin D too. Okay, so some people are afraid of doctors. You're gonna have to suck it up. Well, people care, so I of course myself will suck it up. But I gotta go to doctors all the freaking time. And so I can't make plans. And, I just decided the trying to drive. It would be all right. It's not an issue now with some of my medications. But I don't want to take freaking chances just in case. Right. Like one little weird twitch, and I could accidentally like step on the brake pedal instead of I don't know, but it is affecting my feet a little bit too. So yeah, so none of that. I love driving. Right? Yeah, that's why sometimes like somebody just come out take me for a ride somewhere. I don't care. We drive around parking lots. I don't even care. uh, but sometimes I hit a little TMJ, but it's not that bad. Some people may not know what that stuff is, but these things can be debilitating when added. Um, so I did make a decision. It's like, well, I'm not even gonna try. That's one thing that's not gonna be on my. Oh, I love ice hockey, and I do love the Jets. I'm sticking with the Jets. I'm a one hockey cup kind of guy, so I figured I'd just go Canadian. Okay, well, the Bolts, it was just like I know enough about ice hockey that when Iserman and a few other people that finally take when they took over and they're right, Yibusha, so one. Any of us who knew know at some point these contracts needed to be adjusted and cleaned up. And I know what a rebuild looks like, even if people don't say it. Some of us have been, paying attention to the NHL and hockey long enough to kind of just know. Like, I get it, but I decided to reminisce with Tampa because that was the one place that I did out of good fortune. I had a chance to go down and be in the building when the cup was in the building. So it was pretty awesome. It was like I got temporarily definitely, but I didn't care. And the lady next to me kissed me flat on the lips, people. Yep. She had to explain it later. Yes, because this is her husband's seat, but he's like an emergency crew kind of person, and he can't just, I mean, what a sorry, dude. I mean, yeah, like, oh, dude, but right, like, but I'm like, whoa, I'll take this. Right, so it was just normally his seat, and she was so excited at one point, forgot that her husband wasn't there, and just like, what? I'm like, yeah, baby. Go Wolves! I, but I did. My ears were ringing. It was like, yeah, it was loud. Um, it didn't bother me, but I did get kissed by a woman. I got a kiss at the game. Yeah, I got a kiss, and the sweetest little boy. I wrote about that somewhere, so I'm not gonna. But um, people need to understand that when you interact with others online, there are some things that you do kind of have to be aware of. It is kind of like general public. A lot of it is. Okay? Some of it's private, and that's fine. Some people have VPNs so that it's meant to stay in a certain location. But there are a lot of people in the US who don't really know how technology works. And so, you know, it's can be confusing. But there's that, it's sort of middle, where people weren't really teaching as much in school, and then they had to learn it and see it. But you know, not everybody should be forced to use the internet, especially the United States of America does kind of sort of let you be you as long as you're following certain civil rules and other things. But um, Everybody needs to be careful about that online. And those of us who've been online for a long time and use the internet, and sometimes if we know that, you know, like this could be problematic in certain ways, you have to understand that it might get problematic to the point where actual law enforcement does get involved. And then you have a whole different problem. Um, so try to be, take deep breaths. I know, and charge up. I don't get charged up like that anymore because I'm too sick to care. Okay, but no, I will not be owning an NHL club in my lifetime. And I don't want to try it, and I don't want the stress, so no problem. But that means at some point I might have, okay, but I can't keep moving around. And I don't want to. So, I have to kind of take a look at things and do things that are reasonable for me to be able to do. Because, like some people know, you can push through it, right? I know how to push through it. The problem is certain illnesses and certain other things, and right, you gotta not push through it. So, nope, don't push through it. Don't. Because, yeah, there, are little surprise elements to fibro. But the more people who are diagnosed and the more people who talk about symptoms and try things, do things, then that's more, you know, tested information for other people, which is another reason that I'm doing this. I've, fibro, trying to lose weight, and I'm not trying to tell you you need to go deprive yourself from two like weird diets. I'm saying try and cut back on the carbs. Is it okay? So I love like hot meat, hamburgers, and it's nice and neat packaged, but I think they taste better without any kind of bread. And you just knife and fork it. Um, and then just don't put cheese, and just stick to that for a little while. Overnight results, people's expectations, and then you start, right. It becomes a negative feedback loop, and it can cause you a lot of anxiety and stress. So, you know, I'm losing weight, but it could also be because of illness. And there are some medications, especially if they're steroidal. Yeah. But mine were all prescribed. And there are, doctors need to understand you don't want to be the regular clients, people out in the general public. Don't keep filling them full. Yes, there are things. And when people feel like they're getting x-rayed too much, they are allowed to say, hey, plus insurance, like, why my insurance company probably, only want to pay for one of them. So, see what I'm getting at? So I do understand a lot of different sides and angles, and especially business, even though I haven't like run or been a part of certain types of businesses. So I'm not stressing that. No freaking way I'm going to be able to recoup that, and there's no way I'm going to be able to work like at the pace I wanted to make it back up. So there's that. But I, of course, check in. Yes, Kevin Weeks pops up on my Twitter. There's breaking news, right? I get the Twitter, updates on the NHL. Um, but I try to concentrate on some of the younger and AHL specifically. It is more wallet friendly, and so are the female games and some of the other ones. Um, but like I said, University of Delaware is not that far away from me, so there's still that option for me to be able to maybe get to a nice hockey game here or there. So it's not totally out of the question. It's just good enough for me right now. Understanding how to it's important. If you have a bank account, all right, you have a checking account, okay, well, do everything you can to also have a savings account. Some banks won't do one or the other, but the reason you want to do that, number one, like you can automatic transfer like $10 even. And like so without you thinking, it just goes into or 50 or whatever. Okay. Um, but if you start running issues, you can also stop those transfers. And it's emergency money, but it also helps with overdraft. And covering overdraft means, you know, some banks will charge you a lot, but they won't at least charge you double because sometimes you get the fee and then you get the overage fee and then you may get hit with another one. So, um, I'm not a fan of having many credit cards. I've had a few, yes, and actually, most of them were meant to be paid off, and some of them just got paid off. But I needed a certain amount of purchase power for just a short amount of time, right? And then, right, just drop off. Um, I wanted to keep whatever kind of monies available for my parents should they have like a special need that wouldn't be covered by a lot of things. But these, USA and other insurance will supplement insurance. Yes, military and other do tend to have, more coverages for certain things. But um, I won't use any other insurance company but USAA. So just know that. Even though the financial portion screwed me over, you did. But yeah, I don't care if it costs more on average. I mean, the customer service alone is worth whatever. Um, so I'm glad I have that option. You can get renter's insurance. You can get, and there's this if you need to get certain kind of special insurance, homeowner certain they have all that kind of stuff. But I've never once had an issue, and they respond quickly, and they tell you what you need to know. And if you don't understand, you can call. And whenever I bought a car, it's so easy for dealerships or other people. You have to verify the insurance, and they love USA for that. USA for that too. So it is for military and military families, or people who work certain jobs. But I don't want any other. Right. Um, People should get renter's insurance. Some people may be calculating their cost, but they're not calculating what renter's insurance is, and you're going to risk it. But here's the problem. I'm saying, if you're the one who causes the issue, you pretty much have to figure out a way to pay all the people's because, and yep, because some insurance companies might not necessarily want to cover something that, okay, hey, don't rent if you don't consider renter's insurance. It's not something that you skip. It's not something that you're like, oh, I can risk it. Save your ass. Okay. And in emergency responses, right? Like a lot of times, insurance people will be like, yes, like right there, same day, with something, some kind of way, some kind of answer, some kind of something. So a lot of people have what appears to be a lot of stuff and a lot of wealth, but a lot of it is mortgaged to freaking hell, and they're killing themselves trying to dig out of the hole. Well, I don't want to be in a hole like that. And so those who don't want to, then don't use credit cards unless you absolutely have to. There's a trick somebody somewhere, and I'm sure other people have told other people. I don't know where it came from. Take a take a credit card, right, and put it in like a bag or a bin filled with water, and let it freeze. Now, some people say it's going to hurt, but if you're only using it for, okay, put it in a bag, then it's a lot harder to get to it. And be careful about getting in the habit of using certain things so that you're right. Your debt ceiling is way higher than what you could possibly bring in. Those are basic stuff. That's just basic everyday stuff. Like in the USA, every household and every family should really consider that, because declaring bankruptcy is harder, and your list of reasons and excuses has decreased. And because if some of it's happening because you did not have renter's insurance, there's so many companies like they would, yes. And so you don't have to have, it can cost like $20. I don't know. Sometimes it's not a lot, but people who don't do that, well, you shouldn't think that you have the responsibility to live by yourself and be a responsible adult and afford the things that you have. So, plenty of people falling in those traps. Okay. But one good way to build credit is just use a bank, a Visa or MasterCard ATM, and check your balance. Okay. If you don't write things down, check it often and plan. Do you really want something or you really need something? Then you know what your budget is. And so you can put a little bit aside. Okay. But I can't really get into debt anyway. I mean, I can't allow that because it's like, I don't leave anybody any debt. I don't know what the hell, I can die tomorrow. So could anybody else. Let's just pray that doesn't happen. But see, right. So now I might have to reconsider how I'm going to be spending the rest of my time. But the Preservation Society around here is always something I can look into. Um, but people should try to do some kind of diary. I've doctors will tell me, constantly, do a dream diary, do this, do that. It's like, why don't I just film myself freaking sleeping live and you all can watch and see what the fuck happens? Jeez. I don't know how to explain it. Exactly. But I have to flip and move a lot, flip and flop. Anybody who's ever had sleep paralysis Number one, take a deep breath. Don't worry. Your body knows what's happening automatically. Now, if there are any rare occasions where someone may have experienced full sleep paralysis, likely it happens always on the back when you're laying on the bed. Could be obstructive pulmonary, could be uh, Jacob's ladder, sleep wake. Okay, through certain phases, sometimes there's a little glitch, and one thing happens just before the other, and so your body is still in I'm dead asleep respiration, but the rest of you is awake. So you feel like you're not getting air. I do understand that people have like seen things, and I'm not saying that that's couldn't be the case. If there's evidence of scratches, bruises, you see what I'm saying? Smells, certain things that don't fit, but that's extremely rare. So no one needs to be paranoid or trying to push that anymore because you're doing way more damage, and you gotta stop. Plus, right, it's actually there's good, hard research and evidence. A lot of people, their sleep phases get stuck a little. I've had it happen to me, and I've never felt threatened, but it's weird and it's a little disconcerting. You feel like you can't breathe, but your body, your autonomic system that's just always working, knows to catch up real quick, and then right, it feels like something got off of you. But basically, what's happened is you're now in awake breathing mode. Okay, and so don't be as frightened if it happens. Just I've never once ever had an episode, not once. If I sleep on my side, I'm a back sleeper. I love it, but right, having that happen all the time, disconcerting and confusing. So just sleep on your sides. Get used to sleeping on your sides, and the sleep paralysis will probably dissipate. So, if you're one of those, as soon as you hit the pillow, just you know, try to learn to hit the pillow sideways. So if you just, yes, I know I've been tired enough, like barely get my feet on the bed. That has helped me, and at 100% never had an episode as long as I sleep on the side. If I sleep on my back or I fall asleep, then I will have issues. Okay, so figure out how to sleep on your side, and you won't have that issue anymore most of the time. It's an actual physical kind of situation, but some people do feel threatened. Some people may have some evidence of something that is like physical or very clear that it's different. Okay, right. But most people, it's just how your brain is arranging information, and you just got this one little thing ahead happen, little glitch. Like most of you woke up and you're alert, just your respiratory system's like, I'm still sleeping, and so you're getting sleep, shallower breaths. So when you're awake, it feels like you can't have air. Okay, I do like want to explain this to people so that they understand I'm an actual person here. For years, like in my early 20s, like what the hell is this? So I learned about cataplexy a long time ago and other kind of things, but from different perspectives. Like there's a spiritual, but the scientific does fit how your body works. Okay, so some people who have maybe obstructive pulmonary, you know, I'm not sure how to avoid that sleeping on the back, but if there's a way to maneuver so you can sleep on your side, at least that one side effect will probably go away. Okay, But if it's something that's really like otherworldly, paranormal, not like, there'll be evidence that indicates otherwise. Okay, I mean it'll be clear. Okay, so a lot of people don't worry so much when it's happening because your body knows it needs to take, an awakeful breath, and it'll pull you out. Okay, but that's why it feels heavy on the chest. Um, and so it, it's like the best advice I can give anybody who gets that, because I'd 100% never have an issue if I sleep on my sides. So it could just be the way you're open or the way that you're positioned. I don't really know, but some of it is not as scary as some people want to tell you it is. Okay, I wouldn't say that because yes, the first time it happened to me, I didn't feel threatened, but it was weird. You actually, like, my eyes were open. I was looking at my clock, and I could hear all the neighborhood kids around, knowing where I'm supposed to be. But I couldn't move, and I felt like I couldn't get air. But I just think to myself, you know, like, roll over, breathe, something. Like, I just think, and that may not actually make it happen, but it helps me know that it's not going to last very long because my body's going to start kicking in full awake breathing. So it's just waiting through it. But not a single time have I had an episode while lying on my sides. So if that helps anybody who has that, the fear and the discomfort and, yeah, the confusion of it. So these things do happen, and it's okay. If it's something else, you'll know. Okay, but most of the time, it's just the way your body works. Okay. Um, Another reason I stopped applying for certain work at a certain point in time was I got tired of taking hits on my credit. People don't consider that sometimes. And so at a certain point, it's like, I was like, okay, well, I put a bunch in for USA jobs, and sometimes you can get a call 2 years later. Okay. That was a while ago. But my health, on the other hand, I needed emergency dental work, which I never got. And so then other things took precedence. And I've been in and out of hospitals, but no, I'm not schizophrenic. Schizophrenia is very hard to understand, okay? And they always need extra assistance with money and making good decisions, okay? Um, so I've been around a few too. Um, but there are people who do meditate themselves into a certain state. So, in that kind of context, as long as you can meditate yourself out, then you should be okay. Some people can't, and then they kind of get locked into themselves, and they don't know how to get back out. That happens to people too. Those are real things that happen, and so at any point in time you're looking at a human being, you can't ever assume you know anything about what that person's gone through, no matter what they look like. Just, that's not the way you proceed to live in a human world. Okay. So try to remember that. I really appreciate people who like, I've gotten some assistance and help. I know it's there. It's like, and I know that some things are going to work out with the cigarettes. Well, I'm down, so I'm not smoking as many. But that's good enough for me. I haven't quit quitting. And every time that happens, then I understand something more about, like, aha, if I do this, then maybe. But I can't really handle the withdrawal because of other issues. So I'm just slowly, because I don't really like them. But on occasion, it's like mentholated crap. And what else is supposed to be in there? Something. Right. Fiberglass. I love it. Good stuff. Okay. But people need to understand that. When some of us were younger, people weren't telling us it was addictive. And I could go to my neighborhood store and go buy 4 packs at the age of 13. Right? Because people went and did errands for their parents. Okay? For like 90 cents. So you gotta take it easy sometimes. Some cigarette smokers, get it? So anybody wants to discuss topics, anything, just send it to me. There's information down there, any kind of interesting thing. But for paranormalists, the only thing that I have strength and energy for is to consult, or any kind of case where there's an invisible friend of 10-year-old or younger. Sometimes I can tell when children are coached. Sometimes I can tell when children are trying to say something without saying it. And sometimes it's like a little manifestation of their own that isn't really real, but it helps them understand. Okay. But it could also include harm. So I look at it from the clinical, you understand, and social, and other. Hey, because some kids sometimes get coached, some get threatened, and so it might not be of that kind, but it could be of another kind. And I have the skills and the time and training to be able to at least roll something in or out sometimes. And I love kids. Well, I do. I know how to get down on the floor and play cards and all things, right? But sometimes, yeah, sometimes they get coached. So, or they can't handle a situation that is happening to them, but they may also have some other situation going on, and they could, you know, have what some people call a shine. But then you want to handle them differently, you understand? And so, because they're going to need to understand, but from a clinical site, like, I would not skip that part. Get it? And I would be very aware of certain situations. I know child development, how some kids think. And so some are so looking for someone to talk to because they can't tell their parents. See what I'm saying? So occasionally, it's like the only safe way to talk about stuff can happen. So in the field of psychology, that also, like, that behavior can manifest. You understand? So I am interested only in those cases because they're the only ones I have strength for, and I can do some distance, like with camera and other kind of stuff, but I don't drive, so I need transportation everywhere I go. But I can usually tell. Like, I look at it from every perspective I can think of. And it could be any number of things. It might not be paranormal, but it might still be a kid who needs a little different kind of help. You know what I mean? So that's important to me. So I save energy ahead of time if I need a little extra time ahead to save up my energy so that I can read the situation from every perspective that it could known possibilities, but some activity and some evidence and some other things otherworldly does exist, or something that is anomalous does exist. So I don't leave that out. You understand? I leave that possibility in, but it's the last possibility that I go to. However, sometimes I feel it. I've walked in the houses where I feel like, geez, I gotta get the hell out of here. I don't know what the hell's going on in here. See what I mean? Like some sensitives just know. Right. And it may not even be anything, but yeah, it's not like when you're a kid, it may come across as fear, but as you get older, it's sort of like you're picking up, but you could be picking up the person, two people down from you, or right. So I just care about the kids. Okay, so the child psychologist needs to be involved, and I'm sure of it. Then and I just, hey, that's it. I'm out because the child psychologist. You see what I'm saying? But if it's someone who is trying to communicate, and it could be the child who's producing some activity. Okay, it could be a parent. So there are ways to check these things, and that's the only kind of like paranormal investigating and consulting that I want to do because it's all I got the strength for. So I can discern pretty quickly if a kid's been coached or yeah, and what kind of attention the kid needs. See what I'm saying? Like maybe trying to get the wrong attention. See what I'm saying? So human psychology is how I perceive it. You understand? But I have seen stuff. Right. So I've experienced activity. I know that it's not everyday normal. I'm not saying that these things don't happen. There aren't things. But when it comes to children, it's really important to protect them. And if you don't know how to do that, okay, they may need to be protected from someone in their house, but okay, they may have just an ability that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Or they may just, in the clinical psychology way, just want to talk to somebody. And it doesn't seem like the parents or anybody that wants this. These things, I'm very thorough. And so if it were something, then I would say, okay, well, then you need right, you get a couple of mediums, whatever you need, like, right, paranormal speaking. So if that's truly what it is, because I would not leave that possibility out. That's it. That's all. So I get these things recorded. Hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to take a break. I'm hoping, like around December, to put some things together. So, um, but if you know anybody with fibromyalgia, you got to take it easy on them. And if they're athletes, okay, there you may not be able to push to a certain level because you're just going to wreck yourselves and it hurts, and then you're no good for like 2 months. So people who don't understand fibro, you just got to understand this. They can't be pushed, right? They can't, like, you can't try and get them up the hill. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay, they kind of got to stay at the level they're at. And the situation stretching for me if I can manage to do it, but that's what I'm saying. I think the CBD has been helping with that. But I don't take muscle relaxers anymore. So that's huge. Um, those things are really important because you may do fine at work or you may do fine, but if it flares up, you may not have realized that it flared up until it's so bad that you can't get out of bed. And that is true and honest reality of people with fibromyalgia. That one's been just pain in my ass. I'm so used to just getting up and doing stuff and going out and right. But even some other medical treatments, I was able to at least have some decent, not fibro, and so some people will use lyric. I'm not going to get into drugs or anything, but there are some things, treatments. Okay, they don't work for everybody, but don't give up. Okay, because if one doesn't, then maybe there's something else that in combination. But the best thing you can do to help yourselves is just cut yourself slack all day long, and don't let people harass you or bully you to get up and do your everyday because you're not going to be able to. Okay. Um, so the people who are used to being productive at a high level need like extra help and support and understanding that you can be fine for a couple of weeks, steady pace, but then something, okay? Chances of injuries are a bit higher. Um, and it can cause sleep deprivation as well, which becomes an issue if you have responsible jobs. So be understanding of someone anyway, and if they really have to freaking stop and rest, then you gotta let them. And if they aren't really feeling so hot and chipper in the morning when you get up, you might just skip your plans for the day because you need to sleep all day. Because the sleep and the rest does help with the fibro. So I found these things to be true as a person who has it. And you got to learn to take it easy on yourself. And sometimes I have trouble with that too. Just, right, yep, here, see, the lists. Yep, all the things. I can't lie, the Jets got some. Yeah, I know. Yankees got swept up. Oh, good. I'm okay. Thank you for checking in. I'm getting ready to actually shut down, but thank you for checking in. How are you doing today, this afternoon? Um, this is a habit I'm trying to break. Yeah, making, you know, I mean, I've had jobs where they 15 pages per day. Okay, so it's a lot less than that. Trying, yes. Okay, well, you take care. And yeah, hopefully it does fly by. Music usually helps. I always find that helpful. Yeah, I like the Jets merch too. Um, it's neat, but I'm just sticking with the Jets because it makes it easy. And also, sometimes their games are, for me, at earlier, or is it later? I don't know, depending on what. Um, and I can't like always sleep steady. So sometimes if I'm tired I'm sleeping when I'm tired. Thank you for the like. Um, these are just things that if anybody runs across, and I will be putting them up in little segments, but it is considered educational because I do have a PhD. I have years of experience. I've done postdoc. I've done research. Okay. I also started working when I was 13 years old. And so most of the time I have had working jobs. Um, and I do a lot of research. And these things have been researched really, really well by other people. So, I understand those people don't really want to be taking medication if they don't have to. Um, so there's things you can try to, make sure you have enough vitamin D in you. If you're a cigarette smoker, take extra vitamin C. Okay. I have trouble drinking orange juice, but they do make the low acid. And that's pretty much my only potassium during the week. So, um, the low acid for reflux, it's better. It's more drinkable. Um, so your diet also for fibro, if you can get on something that helps you just drop some kind of weight, fat, whatever, that's not really difficult because if the more you try to push yourself athletically, the worse it gets. Okay. Which I have found out badly, right? So there are people who have written books about fibro, and there are many, many studies about it, and there's some networks online for support and information. But I'm an actual person who has had it for quite some time, and sometimes I can go months and not have flare, but an injury or some other kind of thing, or sometimes the weather changes, or yes, well, as I'm getting older, I mean, it makes sense. I have a little bit of arthritis, especially around my knees, but you gotta stop. You're gonna hurt yourself, and that is something that an athlete would have to consider. Okay, because like you can do pain treatments, you can do other kind of thing, but your body's gonna fail on you. And so you have to learn how to not be so athletic and not be in a big hurry and list the things. Okay. Some of them I rewrite to remind myself on the next page. Okay. Some of them are higher priorities because there's no way I can't go without going and getting blood tests and all that kind of and there's stuff that, like, if I do part time doing Etsy, I need a creative outlet for my hand because I can't really play piano or keyboard right anymore, and I can't play my guitar right anymore. So creative outlet, but I use recycled stuff, and I use stuff that's doesn't need to go in the waste stream, and I try to work on making sure that everything is as it should be. But creative outlet, I have to have one. But I use mostly recycled and donated. And so it keeps a lot of stuff out of the waste. And it helps because then I have to be creative about, okay, I got this stuff. Okay, well, what do I make out of it? You know what I mean? So I try to do things that, some people don't like handmade stuff. Right? Um, right. So the candles I have plenty of wax now. And I'm gonna be putting for special orders for candles. I can add stuff and subtract stuff. If I need to buy a special ingredient for something, I can, depending on what it is if I don't have it. But mostly for relaxation. I mean, but you can also use candles for intention, and you can put like loving thoughts right in it, right? So sometimes I'm just keeping stuff around, putting light, good thoughts in the same area as me. So I keep this portion very clear all the time. So there's no negativity in this little area. I won't let it come in. I won't even like TV turn off if there's too much. So I keep it that way. But that takes extra like work that you can't see. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, and I can only really do things like that because it's all I've got the energy. So, but people have asked for special variations on buy 3 get 1 free. I mean, attacking people using star ratings on Etsy is childish. So, um, but I like Etsy. I like some of the creative people and some of the things that people make that you can't find in a lot of places. Yeah. Um, and so it's very good therapy, and I got to do something creative. Yeah. Um, but 10% does go to 501c3. I need to get that 501c3 bank account back up past 500 because that way I'm not paying fees. And then once that happens, then it can start to build. Okay. Now, once I get it to about 1,000 words built, okay, and it's ready, then I can start sending out information, applications, what you need, what it's for, and let some social services and some other people know and get it out. But that's probably not going to happen anytime soon, especially since no one seems to give a shit. But I do. So I'm not going to stop trying. Just, I have some end of life decisions to make, which don't, like, that's not really easy to do. Um, so everybody try to. I know the post office has been trying to keep up around here, but a lot of it's like sloppy. They're trying to get it done so fast that they're not really putting it in places where older people and disabled people can even get their packages anymore and dumping them out in the rain. So maybe there's incentive there, but maybe it's just everybody's just getting pushed so hard they feel like, and so I let people know that if there's a post office situation, it's going to be a post office situation, right? And I, I, I don't want any advice on how to grow a business. I greatly appreciate it, but it's not wanted. Okay. I know how to do what I do. I know how to read instructions online and pay a fee to have a 501c3. I give a crap about how the money is tracked. I give a crap about the fact that I want to make absolutely sure that everybody's information is in a secure location where it cannot be reached via the internet. Okay? I don't plan on selling any of it. That's another situation. There's some legalese probably, but it's going to be very good. And some people need to actually check with their caseworkers, parents, caregivers, whatever, to learn about what their health insurance actually covers, because that can help you make decisions. Okay? I have, for one client conversation, private, I have two secure ways to do it. Two for sure. Secure ways to do it. And you get the full hour. And I can't really discuss any kind of fees because some people don't have any money at all. But Some people could, or some people could donate. So basically, I'm trying to build a fund that probably help a lot of people because these things are not usually considered in regular, everyday, even in insurance and government. Some people don't understand that you do also need to make plans for what happened to your pets. And some people love their pets, but they're having trouble taking care of them. So, you know, maybe if there's no volunteer, at the local humane society, at the building or whatever, maybe there's volunteers willing to come and, you know, clean up the bird cage and with the food and hang out with somebody who needs company. Um, anyway, so I appreciate anybody who's watched this or does watch it. Any comments? Always give tips, whatever you need to do. I'm not going to be attacked online. This already has happened to me, probably before some of these people were born. Okay. So I will be, you know, very adamant about any kind of law enforcement that has to do with anything on the internet and certain companies that are operating illegally and certain people who don't have licenses for certain things. You understand? I'm allowed to do that. Okay. Every, citizen of the United States is, but don't make up lies because then it all crashes down on you and you're not going to get back up from it. Okay. Yes, educational because I am a trainer. I have years of experience. Okay. Sometimes I can train the negative thinking out depending on the circumstance. However, it's like I said, I will not work with anybody on any level unless I know that you have a general practitioner or a regular doctor. Okay. Because it's both the physical and the spiritual and all of it. The whole people. Okay. You are. So, one. I can take one. But I specialize in grief and loss, especially if it's critical, immediate. Someone's like just hit so hard. Okay. If you can't get in to see somebody, if you don't like talking to people who don't have the same beliefs as you, okay, and you don't understand that's fine. I don't, whatever your beliefs are, fine. Okay. It does change the way you think, and I get it. But yes, educational because I am an educator, and I also, yes, give you my word straight out. I always check, and I've had years of experience, and there's lots of things scientifically that I've been checked in there, and people have been doing them. So, a lot of things get worked out, and the more people who participate and give advice and who, share some certain things. I mean, I'm a private person, but I even shared. Yes, there's pictures of my pubes on Twitter. Um, for people who don't know what that is, and you're afraid of it, it's not an STD. Sometimes it's just infected hairs, but when it is a common thing and it starts to kind of be in, yes, and it's not a pleasant situation. A lot of people are embarrassed by it. I should be. It sucks. There, that's my big old lump of, and it smells. But it's not hygiene. You understand? It's not an STD. But people are beginning to understand it better. And it's like I said, that's why I do the biologic. But that puts me in an even more fragile situation. Now, if anybody doesn't care about that, then I do get other people involved. And if it needs to be lawyers or police, then that's what's going to happen. I did not need advice on almost everything. And The extent that I was willing to learn about certain things is the extent that I was willing to learn. I probably am not going to make it 70, so I got to make this time count. And a lot of time I'm in pain, a lot of time faces, I can't finish a sentence. Sometimes I try to I put my pen down. I know exactly what I'm going to write, but I don't know. I guess it takes my arm, a minute to warm up these days. Right? It won't move, but eventually it will. Neurological, likely. So I don't have like direct family. A lot of people have been treating me like shit. Why? Why try to stick around in this freaking world? Do I care if I don't continue on? No, not really. Right. It's true. And, you know, if certain attacks keep happening on my Etsy account, I'm going to have somebody look into it. You understand? Okay? You got to be fair to people. And I got to reviews are like, well, I'm not your therapist, so I don't care how you feel. I wasn't asking you how you feel. You expected something that was not at all what was being offered. When you try to attack people like that, there are things that can be done. And at this juncture, I'm like, oh, yeah, I could even find a little bit of pro bono lawyering. I am much older than some people might think. And I've been working since I was 13. Get it? Right. I've traveled all over the world. I'm not in a big hurry to be doing that because it might kill me. So, people who want to get pissy, just know that you might be attacking somebody's dying grandma online. You understand? But I'm not going to deal with the youngins because I'm 50 fucking years old. And I take time to drink water and wash my face. Okay. That's why, and athletes know how to burn energy. Okay. There are a lot of people just all concerned about I do not have a body weight scale in my house. So, but if you have muscle from youth, you got to keep feeding that muscle. And so it does actually become a situation where you got to have that right balance. And so I have not been able to because it's freaking Parkinson's crap. So, but if you get to the point where like you just don't feel like getting out of bed or talking to anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, you just can't seem to open up the curtains and come out. Well, try to find someone that is very easy to talk to, either around you, online, you understand? And it's good to discuss things. It's weird because like some other people may be like, yeah, it's not weird to do that. But I don't, where I'm sitting right now is really don't think that the way the situation is right now, I'm not really going to be doing much fighting against the Parkinsons, and I'm not going to because I don't have proper resources. And if people are freaking gonna attack me online for no reason, or think that law enforcement does not have some idea of some activities, or that you can't get caught, or that you can use certain illnesses as an excuse. Because there are people like me who know, and there are people who belong to Sunrise, Milton, man. They know. They're petty thieves, and they know. And yet, Sunrise takes them to all kinds of stores and farmers market, right, to steal from you. I would, in a court of law, feel absolutely no pressure in stating for sure some of them are criminals and they should not get protection the way they are getting protection. These are all things that can be investigated by people. Right? People, I'm not pressed, but if I misspeak totally and you have proof, and you see what I'm saying? Then I got no issue. Like, ooh, okay, well, this is new, or I don't know about this, or this, adds a different perspective. You understand? Don't attack my Etsy shop, because now I am going to have some people, right, checking to make sure that it's based on what the description is. And you are basically attacking a disabled person, okay, who's been through probably way more shit than you ever will. So I don't do to other people what they do to me. But parents, schools, regular people need to understand, if the internet becomes a huge problem, there are ways to not have the internet. Okay? It's important. I don't need to grow my Etsy shop because I've got plenty of stuff. It's just taking me time. I can only really have enough energy for like 2 hours a day, and I have higher priorities. Do not attack me in any way unless you're willing to go to a higher court with perfect evidence that could not possibly have been manufactured. I want to whistle blow, and I haven't changed my mind.